Hey guys, John Richards here. Hope you're having an amazing day. In this video, I want you to think about something. What's your one thing? And what do you really mean? What do I mean by that? What I mean by what's your one thing? Most people, when they start trying to decide what they want to do for the day, or what they want to do for the month, or what they want to do for the year, or their life, they have all these things they want to accomplish. That's impossible. You know, when you chase two rabbits, you can't catch either one. And I'm reading a great book, and I've read it over and over and over again. It's called The One Thing, written by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. I'm actually in a new training platform called Living Your One Thing, because this book is important enough to me that I want to live it. I want to know everything that I need to do to live this book, because Gary Keller built the biggest real estate company in the world using the concepts from this book. And, you know, we all only have 24 hours a day. And, you know, you can only do so many things. And if you don't know what to do, you're never going to get anything done. You're focused this way, and then you're focused this way, and then you're focused this way. That's why you don't have any success, or the amount of success that you can have in your business, or in your personal life, or in your spiritual life, or in your relationships, or whatever it is that you're trying to focus on. You know, one of the things it talks about in here, which I think is really amazing, is, you know, there are 7 areas of your life that you really need to focus on. And you need to identify what's your one thing in each of those areas. And how you do that, there's something called the focusing question. You know, everything starts with a question. And if you have the right question, you're going to get the right answers. You know, and I know I'm following a lot of very successful people, and they use this concept. So really think about what I'm about to share today. You know, so the focusing question is, what is the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary? Think about that. What is the one thing, not priorities, priority. What is the one thing that I can do? I got to be able to do it such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary. And that creates what's called a domino effect. And you say, well, what's a domino? You should always, in anything you do, identify what the lead domino is. Don't just go out and do something. Okay, I'm going to work on my business today. This is what I'm going to do. And you haven't identified. Sorry, a little hoarse this morning. It's very early. But I haven't identified what the most important thing is. You know, so if I don't know what the lead domino is, how am I going to know that I'm even moving my business forward? And I heard Tim Ferriss talk about it like this. The lead domino is like you're driving down the road in a car. All right? And your defroster's not working. And your mirror is broken off on the side of your car. And your tire is going flat. Which one of those would be your lead domino? Which one of those, if you took care of it, everything else is going to be easier or unnecessary? What's going to be the tire going flat? Because your mirror broke off the side of the car, well, you can turn around. All right? You can see behind you. The defroster not working, you could roll your window down. But if the tire goes flat, I mean, you're dead in the water, man. You're done. You know, because so if the tire goes flat, you can't move forward. You can't do anything else. That's how you identify your lead domino. And you do that, again, by using what's called the focusing question. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary? And you should identify what that one thing is in all 7 areas of your life. And those 7 areas are this. What in your spiritual life? What's the one thing I can do in my spiritual life such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary? Think about that. Now you've identified what the most important thing in my spiritual life is. Okay? Physical health. What's the one thing for my physical health such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary? Okay? For me, that's nutrition. Okay? And then I know I need to focus on the nutrition. So what's one thing I can do with my nutrition such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary? Okay? And then you identify that. So for me, I created a list of, of protein sources that I'm going to allow myself to have. I've created a list of carbohydrate sources that I'm going to allow myself to have. And I allowed myself one free meal on Saturday. You see what I'm saying? So I'm able to really get to the heart of what I need to do to make that area better, or to achieve that goal and to achieve the success that I want to achieve. For my personal life, what's the one thing I can do for my personal life? And then I'm going to just go ahead and mention the rest of the areas, but for my key relationships, for my job, for my business, and for my finances. So I should go and identify what's the one thing in each of those areas, and identify each day what the lead domino is. So I started out and I said, okay, what's the one thing I want to do someday in that area, and identify that, okay? And then I work myself backwards. What do I need to do in the next 5 years such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary in my spiritual life? What's the one thing I need to do in the next year in my spiritual life? You know what I'm saying? You keep working your way back. What do I need to do this month? What do I need to do this week? What do I need to do today? And what do I need to do right now? One of the things, and I've read this in many books, but Gary and Jay really bring it home, is, you have to live by priority. There's so many things that we can be doing, but we're not, okay? Because we do the easy stuff. There's an old saying, if you do what's easy, life is hard. But if you do what's hard, life is easy. And sometimes doing the successful things, doing those things that are really going to move your needle forward, are boring. You don't want to do them because you're doing them day after day after day, and it gets boring, so you're looking for something else. But that monotonous stuff that you do every single day is what's going to create the success for your life. So you need to start thinking about, how can I live by priority? I remember I got Tony Robbins' time management program, and he does about the same thing. He prioritizes his list. How long is it going to take? And he does it in priority order. Okay? And then the next thing you need to do is you need to time block those important things into your, whatever's important to you. Whatever that one thing is, you need to time block it into your calendar. And you need to honor that time block. If you erase it, you replace it. So what's most people do? They block things into their calendar, okay? Last night I blocked everything into my calendar. But the first thing that comes up, a phone call, a text, an email, I'm off the calendar. And then all of a sudden I'm not living by priority. But think of how your life would be if you started living by priority, if you time blocked everything in, and you really honored that. And if you did your one thing, so and the biggest thing with the 7 areas that I wanted to really hit on here is you should only focus on one area at a time. Which area, if you focused on that, would make the biggest result? What's the one area that I could focus on such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary? The focusing question continues to work there also. And then you can identify that. So if you're having financial issues, you need to work on that. And maybe it's not the actual financial issues, maybe it's your business, or maybe it's your job, so you identify that. And then the biggest thing is you need to think really big, but then act small. Most people, why they don't do the stuff that needs to be done is because they make it too big. It's like, I need to lose weight. All right, I'm going to start working out 7 days a week, 4 hours a day. You're not going to do that. So maybe you say, I need to lose weight. So I'm going to work out 3 days a week, 1 hour a day, and build on that. Create habits that'll create that success for you. So really start thinking about what you're going to do. Don't create a to-do list. In the one thing, it talks about a success list. It's things that are really those lead dominoes, that'll move your life forward. I can remember they interviewed Tim Ferriss, and they said, Tim, why don't you let anybody just follow you around, see what you do for a day? He said, because it would be boring. Because a lot of my time is spent finding out what that lead domino is. What are the things that if I did these things is going to change everything, and that's what I do. So I write out my list, and he asked himself the same question. What's the one thing I could do such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary? And then that's what he does. So when you start thinking about planning tomorrow, I want you to ask yourself the focusing question. What's the one thing I can do tomorrow such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Okay? And write that down. Okay? And then ask yourself, if I get that done, and I allow myself the right to do a second thing, because you don't quit till that's done. Okay? You don't want to do pieces and parts of stuff. That accomplishes nothing. Always finish what you start. So whatever you have identified and you've time blocked into your calendar, you got to complete that. But if you know it's something that's not going to take all day or maybe an hour or 30 minutes, sometimes the lead domino is something very small. Okay? Then you'd ask yourself the question, once I've done that, I've allowed myself the right to do a second thing. What's the one thing I can do after that's done such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary? And then I block that in. Okay? And then I do it a third time. I try to identify what the three things each day are. And they're always a must. If I put them on my calendar, if I time block them in, I have to get them done. A lot of people, once the emotion of blocking it into the calendar is done, okay, I finished my day, I blocked out tomorrow, I've scripted the entire day, then tomorrow they wake up and it all changes. I think I'll go watch TV, or I'm not going to do that, I'm going to do something else. No, you made an emotional attachment to what you're going to do tomorrow. Now get up and execute the plan, but do that every day. One of the things we're learning in Living Your One Thing is each day we identify what's the one thing I can do today, such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary. Then we ask, what's an obstacle that can get in the way that would keep me from doing that? Okay, and I identify that up front. Okay, and does my calendar reflect that one thing? Because if it's not on your calendar, it will not get done. So make sure that you start working on the things that are going to improve your life, that's going to change your life. Focus on one area at a time. Do a 66-day challenge. And what a 66-day challenge is, okay, we've all been taught that habits take 21 days to form. Well, that's not true. That's just something that was written in a book called Psycho-Cybernetics. The actual time frame to create a habit is about 66 days. And in fact, it could be less or it could be more. But 66 days is the sweet spot. And you should, your life is created by your habits, So for me, I've been trying to figure out what's creating all the problems in my life. Because lately I've had a lot of problems and it seems like I've been off the rails a little bit. So I said, well, maybe I'm not working out enough. I work out 6 days, man. Maybe I'm not working out enough. And I've noticed I've missed a few days here and there or whatever it was. And so that's not the one thing. So, maybe it's that I'm not working enough. And then I started thinking, well, no, that's not it. But I am distracted a lot. And it came back to something that I'd already created as a habit before, but I started letting it go. And I had to make some changes in my life to fix this. And it was me getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I know you guys think, well, man, he's crazy. He gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I work from home. But what it does It helps me to get my day started right. It helps me to create a framework in my mind to know that, you know, I'm very positive and my day's going to be good. And I learned this from another great book written by Hal Elrod called The Miracle Morning. So I do a Savers program, a morning routine every day where I go through a process of getting my mind right. And today is day 1 of a 66-day challenge. And I've been doing this 5-6 days a week, but every now and then I miss it, okay? And when I miss it, I was starting to notice my day would go off the rails. You know, so today I'm beginning a 66-day challenge, and I'm becoming transparent publicly with this, that for the next 66 days, I'm focused on going to bed by 9 o'clock at night and getting up and doing my morning routine at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I've already noticed the difference because that's my lead domino. You know, sometimes it's not going to the gym is your lead domino. It may be something as small as laying out your gym clothes or blocking out the time or having a certain time that you're going to leave the house to go to the gym. You see what I'm saying? One thing, your lead domino will create a halo effect, okay? Because when you're focused on that and it breaks and it knocks over that domino, it starts knocking over other dominoes and fixes a lot of other things. So first thing I would say, guys, make sure you read the book, The One Thing, written by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. And I probably explained this different than anybody else. I know there's a lot of people out there talking about this book, but I wanted to talk to you from my heart, you know, from the way I see this and from what I'm feeling from this and from what this is doing for me. So, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, make sure you do me a great big favor and give me a thumbs up. Tell me you liked it. Hey, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And there's also a little bell on the side of the subscription button, and that'll get you notified of other videos I do. And all my videos surround life as a process. You know, you have outcomes, but nobody really thinks about what's the process that it takes to hit those outcomes. So if that interests you, make sure you click on the bell, get notified of all those great videos I'm doing. You know, I do at least 3 a week. Make sure you comment. Tell me what your one thing is. Tell me how you organize your day. Tell me if this, you know, it interests you. Tell me if you're going to read the book. Go read the book, guys. Hey, go out and make it an awesome day today, guys. I really value you. I'm so grateful you're here watching my video. Have a great day. Thank you so much.